Hey there, New Patient Group Nation. Hope you're doing great today. Welcome into this week's 5 Fantastic Minutes. Really glad to have you along. I'm Coach Eric. Happy to share this idea with you this week to get you started and get a thought going and maybe even a little bit of practice here before we wrap up this message. And the idea is on patient communication with patients that are beginning their orthodontic treatment, or it could be any form of dentistry, etc. And the idea is to communicate with what we commonly call, and you might be familiar with, PCS language: problem, consequence, and solution language. Now, we build this into a lot of different places of patient communication, but the one I want to focus on today is right out of the gate with our orthodontic assistant sitting chairside with a patient who's about to begin their orthodontic journey. And whatever that appliance might be that they're getting ready to have put on, like aligners or braces or some other type of an appliance, is how are we going to educate this patient to create a compliance and understanding where they cooperate with the things that you're telling them to because they so strongly appreciate the reason behind it. Right, I think this sometimes part of our failure from a compliance and cooperation standpoint is we tell them what we want them to do, but we don't necessarily tell them why it's so important and the difference it's going to make and the things that it's going to help them to prevent by not cooperating and not complying. Right, so as we go through this, I want you to be thinking about some different clinical scenarios with different appliances that would be used to prepare to do some practice on your own. But I'm going to use an example like using Class 2 elastics, right? So we all understand how Class 2 elastics are utilized, but I think it's important that the patient needs to appreciate what are they? Why are they used? Not just the fact that I need to put on these rubber bands day in and day out, right? So as we think about PCS language, what's the problem that we're working to address and accomplish by using Class 2 elastics? And so as you would educate the patient, I think it's really important, maybe pull up some of their images, pull up some photos, pull up their 3D digital scan, and show them what Class 2 malocclusions are. Show them how that top arch is slightly forward of the bottom arch. Okay, show them that, what normal should look like compared to what their situation is. Right? Talk to them about how this is a primary part of the doctor's treatment plan, which is to address that bite correction scenario. Okay, now what's really important is to then leverage the consequence if we don't accomplish the correction, right? By having this Class 2 bite, teeth that aren't fitting together, end on end, whatever their situation is, what's going to happen if this isn't corrected? And I think we can all appreciate with that situation, teeth are going to wear down, they're going to break down, you're going to be breaking off portions of enamel or the teeth, could even fracture a tooth, could cause tooth loss. Okay, a lot of things that can happen as we would progress through an uncorrected Class 2 malocclusion. Okay, so we tell that story. Now you're going to need to practice this, all right? But we got to tell that story at least to some degree, which then sets us up for our solution, right? So therefore, the doctor has prescribed that we use Class 2 elastics, rubber bands, that are going to help us to make this bite correction, get us from where we are right now into a proper aligned bite, right? So let me tell you about what this is going to look like to be successful with your Class 2 elastics. Right now you can go into your typical education, how to wear them, how to use them, the responsibility needed around it, but it means so much more to your patient when they understood what is it I have going on in my personal clinical situation. What are the consequences if we can't get that situation addressed? And ultimately, what are the solutions that I need to be responsible for, that I need to be compliant towards to be successful? And then as we go through treatment, now we always have a story to lean back on if we run into some levels of incompliance. Right, so what I want you to do for today's exercise, when we wrap up here, think of another clinical situation, crowding, palatal expansion, whatever it might be. What can we educate the patient about? What are the consequences if it goes untreated? And what's the prescribed solution by your doctor that's going to help them to accomplish their goals? Thanks everybody for joining me today. Make sure you like this video, please. Make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube channel and listening to our monthly New Patient Group podcast. Catch you all later.